Do you quit a job due to micromanaging? The new manager taking over is a notorious micromanager. You tell him what you are doing. He'll need to verify it. Always acting like you are lying. HR doesn't care. This guy has been in the company for 10 years. I take it as accepted culture. I wrote HR over it. And they haven't even responded in 3 days. The problem is the job market where I live is slim. And I worked so hard to be in this position. I hate having a new manager scare me away from the job. The sooner you start looking, the better. If HR isn't interested in doing anything, you either have to live with it or move on. I have my ways of making the micromanager's life hell. Most of what I do work-wise is directed towards the micromanagement instead of real work. It can be fun for a while, but I know the end is near and I need to get a new job. Best time to look for a job is when you already have one. You can try to set boundaries, but micromanagers usually become more aggressive the more you try. With a few, I've found having a critical conversation and straight up asking them what was it that made them not trust me to do the job I've been doing was enough to have them back off. Some you can wear down by asking them for more info every time they micromanage. Can we make a check sheet? Where is the documentation in this task? Oh, don't have one yet. Let's make it together, etc. But some you just can't manage. I had a micromanager that was proud he micromanaged. The creep would watch me over camera and then comment on how I was working. The micromanager's director was his brother-in-law. The company wasn't going to do anything about it. I ended up going to job training and getting out of the job entirely. I knew I was leaving the micromanager for a few months before the training started, so those last few months I got really loud to all the good gossipers. A few other directors direct reports that have lots of influence. So everyone knew how bad he was before I left. Even the CEO's secretary heard about his bad behavior. He didn't get any promotions and have been passed over for many projects since. He can't be fired, but his career is going nowhere now. This happened to me several years ago. Don't quit. Work to rule. Any meetings you have in person, make sure any directions are followed up with an email from you to him, making sure you understood. Yes, I don't tolerate micromanaging at all. I've challenged bosses before. Some back off, others double down. Then I submit my notice. I didn't quit exactly, but I did change positions at my former company when they put a new director over my department. She was horrible. I had been doing my job for about 4 years at that point and with the company for 7. And I had garnered the attention and interest of most upper management because I had made the company lots of money with the team and product I built. This woman swoops in and treats me as though I don't know what I'm doing. Tells me I seem checked out. I couldn't possibly be working as many hours as I say I am, etc. This was during the height of COVID when our workload more than tripled. And I was managing a 50-person team, 20 of whom were temps. Because we needed more employees and had no managers who knew the product. The whole thing was handled very badly. And I was pissed. Left that bitch and her protege holding the bag because I refused to help them once I was in my new position. Didn't mean to vent so much. Guess I'm still pissed after all this time. Edit. Small wording changes, stupid autocorrect. Left my last job because of a new micromanager. Definitely start looking. In the meantime, give the micromanager as little info as possible. In your one-on-ones, distract them by asking about their favorite topics, their kids, their pets, etc. To satiate their need to discuss work. Ask about company stuff that makes them feel important even if you don't care about it. For example, if you see a company email about Q3 results or an org change in a different department, ask them for details. TLDR. Let them do most of the talking in your 11s. Keep your projects close to your vest. Look for another job. Current situation right now at my job. I've been there for almost 3 years, and at first I thought it would get better because he wasn't used to me yet. After a while, projects were being stymied because of the micromanager's constant meddling. More recently, the jackass made me miss a crucial deadline to satisfy his ego of, I need to see and approve it. Meanwhile, he was on vacation in Norway and was constantly on our asses about deadline. That was the last straw for me. I currently have a few interviews going on, and have a third interview with a company this week where I meet a team. I would quit just because it's a Tuesday. Yes, you do quit if you do not thrive under a micromanager. There is nothing you will ever do that will solve their trust issues. This is not something you as an employee can fix or manage around. They are who they are. It's not your place to fix it. You probably don't have the time or energy for the amount of therapy that manager will need to address their trust issues. It is time to start looking. Remember, good employees leave because of bad management predominantly over any other reason. Dude, HR is never your friend. HR is for the company. Micromanaging sucks. Yes, but I think there is a more annoying type of a boss, manager. Those who have some expectations that they never voice clearly but then pick on you when you don't exactly as they want it. Combine that with an oddball company culture where people don't talk to each other or just work there for too long, and you have a really hard stand as a new guy. Given the chance, absolutely. It depends on how much of it you can tolerate. Me, I would already be looking for a new job. The worst bosses are the ones who don't trust their employees to do their work. Hence micromanagers. I quit my job over micromanagement. It was an absolute nightmare. It got to the point that she would message me on my person phone when I went to the bathroom asking where I was. I work an office job. There's only 2 places I can be: desk or bathroom. Additionally, it absolutely destroyed my self-esteem and self-confidence by being managed like that. I have no regrets that I left at all. I should have done it 2.5 years earlier. I quit a job due to micromanaging. It was at a certain large retail store that everyone on the planet knows. I did my job well, knew pretty much everything I needed to know, and was constantly micromanaged by my supervisor. When I say I did my job well, I mean that I was always on time, always had a good attitude, and never had any problems with my performance. Outside of 2 singular callouts, I'm terms of micromanaging. If I was in the middle of clocking in and they saw me, they'd immediately ask me what I was doing today and grilled me about the tasks I needed to get done. Then they would consistently check in, reminding me of everything I needed to do. They hovered around me while I was working to see if I was actually working, despite the fact that my numbers were great and my section of the store was in fantastic shape. This isn't micromanaging, but it did massively contribute to me quitting. But the day my grandma fell into a coma, I was working. I told them immediately that I'd be taking the weekend off to visit her in the hospital and be there for my family. I had 1 shift that weekend. They decided that was a good time to go into a lecture about my attendance. For reference, I had called out 2 times in my first 2 months, one of which I had to go to the ER for breathing issues. And I gave them my note. I said whatever and still went that weekend. And luckily my shift was picked up, so I had 0 callouts. Then when I get back, my boss pulls me into the office to give me another lecture about attendance, despite the fact that I hadn't had another infraction since the last lecture because my shift was picked up. Apparently they didn't realize that and let me leave the office to get back to work. I got so annoyed that I ended up giving one. 5 weeks notice. If I have 2, I would have had to work while family was visiting for the 4th of July. So I decided on 1.5 for the family time. They were pissed that I wasn't finishing out my shifts and said that being a team player means being on time for your shifts and that they'd need me to finish out everything. That next morning I sent an email saying I was resigning effective immediately. I wasn't dealing with that for an extra 1.5 weeks. Found out they got fired 2 days after I quit. It's not going to get any better, so start looking now. You'll find something else eventually. But the longer you stay, the worse it gets. Trust me. The best thing you can do is find another job. Reach out to your network and even consider setting your LinkedIn to looking for opportunities. If confronted by your manager, deny and lie. Just say you aren't looking for anything at the moment. Which is basically true, as you were just busy doing a work task and not checking your Indeed jobs. Lol. Don't tell anyone you don't trust at work about your job search. HR exists to protect the company's interests, not yours. Don't even bother discussing it with them. In fact, I wouldn't log any complaints with them about anything. Hopefully you can either approach the manager with your concerns or find a new job. It's acceptable to check in with employees from time to time and ensure they are actually doing the things they say they are doing. But unless there's an issue with you not doing something, then it should be an occasional check-in, not constantly. It boils down to trust. Boss. Do it exactly this way. Me. Okay. Boss. Why would you do it that way? You're fired. Me. Okay. Why bother with trying? Don't get ya nothing.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.